2A family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A-N-LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes, it's just my personal opinion. You shouldn't take it as fact. You shouldn't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I ask you to go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Welcome, family. Come on in. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and tap that subscribe button. I think you are going to enjoy the content. And fam, if you don't, you can always unsubscribe later. I'm not going to come looking for you. If you are an existing fan, an existing subscriber, fam, I appreciate you more than you could possibly imagine. All right, look, fam, let's get this rolling. So I thought I would put together this video. I thought people would find it informative. I mentioned to you guys before that part of my growth in guns is to transition from exploration and collection of firearms, although I'll probably always do that to a certain degree, but that I was going to transition from maybe being like, 80, 90% that to, 10 to 20% training, that I was going to make training much more of my focus and priority going forward. I feel like I've experienced enough firearms, from entry-level firearms to very high-end firearms. I've experienced a variety of calibers and platforms, and I've had the opportunity to try all those things out, and I've kind of taken all of the firearms that I've purchased and I've kind of put together like my core essentials, and in terms of firearms that are going to be my training tools. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below. But part of me transitioning into my training is to have kit. And so a lot of the accessories that you see me talking about on a go-forward basis, a lot of the various loadouts and things like that, I'll start doing a lot more videos on those. So in this video, what we're talking about is essentially my gun belts. And really I have two gun belt setups. One is a competition rig that I use when I compete in shooting competitions. And the other one, I really hate to call it a battle belt because I don't do battle. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not military. I'm not retired military, retired law enforcement. So really, I'm going to call this my training belt. When I go out to get tactical training, this is the rig that I'm going to be using. So I thought you guys might find value in understanding kind of the difference between a training or a battle rig and a competition rig, and the different way the two rigs are kind of built out. So I'll start off with my battle belt rig. So for the belt itself, this is the Faro Concepts Bison belt. Now, most belts contain an inner belt and an outer belt. And the inner belt loops through your belt loops like a normal belt would. Traditionally speaking, that inner belt is a very thick, rigid, strong belt that has Velcro on the outside of it. And then your outer belt, which you attach all of your accessories to, that has Velcro on the inside of it. And so you simply just put that outer belt around your waist and attach it via the Velcro to the inner belt. And usually the two are both very, very rigid and stiff. And so that's how I had been running my competition rig, and we'll go over that after we talk about the Faro Concepts belt. But when I started researching, I knew I wanted to have a separate setup. There's nothing wrong with using the same gun belt theoretically for both usages. I just knew that the setup was different, and I didn't want to have to take everything off of my competition belt to set it up for training. I didn't want to have to take everything off my training belt to set it up for competition. So I decided I wanted two different rigs. And so when I was looking for a belt, I went to what a lot of us do. I went to YouTube. And I saw reviews, so many reviews on so many belts. It all started to wash over me. Needless to say, there are a lot of fantastic gun belts on the market. I opted for the Faro Concepts belt though because I thought it was unique. So as I mentioned, the typical, the genuine kind of theory on gun belts is you need an inner belt that's really solid and rigid and an outer belt that's really solid and rigid. And so Faro Concepts kind of flies in the face of that kind of conventional wisdom. As you can see, this is their inner belt. It is anything but rigid. Normally on these inner belts, it's so thick, you hold it and it just stands at attention, right? This wraps through your belt loops, and then you connect it via the little hook on the end right here. And I'm making this look, my apologies. I'm making this look a lot harder than it needs to be, but yeah. So anyway, it slides out like that, right? You wrap it around your waist, and then when you're ready to attach it, you slide it in like that, right? So it's very thin, and you know what I've discovered about it being thin? A lot of times to get something, you have to give something. It's ultra comfortable. These other belts, they're fine, the inners are fine, but it's very stiff, it's very rigid, not the most comfortable thing. Kind of and it depends on how you roll. Like for me, I like to get up when I'm about to go train. I like to get up at the range, get dressed, put on my gear, put on my inner belt, pack the outer belt in my bag, and I'm rolling, right? So I'm driving usually with my inner belt on and all that. And if you're driving a long ways or whatever the case may be, it is not the most comfortable thing. When I have this Faro Concepts inner belt, because it is so thin, it is incredibly comfortable. Now, here is the flip side of that. So the question is, well, because it is not as stiff and rigid, when you attach your outer belt, does it feel like you don't have the same kind of connection that you would if your inner belt was super rigid? And the answer to that, in my experience so far, is no. No, it attaches just as strong as my competition rig. It just feels way more comfortable and way more natural. And to get that effect, you pay a premium, and we'll start talking about cost on that. And then the outer belt is kind of what you see right here. And of course, it has MOLLE attached to it. And that's what allows you to attach all your little devices to it. And so I have a variety of things on my belt. So I'll just kind of maybe walk you through them front to back, talk to you about what they are, who they're from, why they're there. Okay, so at the very front of the belt, you can see that I have a tourniquet holder. And this is a tourniquet holder from Soil Eaters. They make a really good tourniquet holder. What I like about this is that it lays the flat way horizontally on your belt so it doesn't stick up. and allows me to put it right up front where you kind of want. Look, if you're going to need a tourniquet, you want to be able to access it, and you want to be able to access it fast and quickly. So the flat that it lays flat, and and it's right up front where I can grab it if I need it. I think it's a great thing. And I also used the Soil Eater tourniquet. Moving forward, right here I've got the ShivWorks pull dagger. You know, I guess this goes more along the lines of this being a battle belt. I don't have any formal training with knives, but it's something that I want to do. I'm planning on putting something on the calendar for 2023. And so I went ahead and got this. I got really good reviews. The company ShivWorks makes real good quality stuff. And so, yeah, I picked that up. All right, then we've got my holster. This is a Dara level 2 holster with the leg strap. Of course, in it, we've got my FNX 45 tactical, that big boy up there doing what it does. And usually if I'm training, I'm using either this or my my FN 509 tactical, one of the two. And then back here, I've got a Leatherman's tool. It's a Leatherman's gun tool by Real Avid. Really designed more for shooting. It's got 37 tools in one. If you haven't seen this, check it out. It comes with also a variety of bits and tools that you're going to need that you can attach to the tool here. So if I'm out in the field and my optic gets loose, or I need to make a quick change on something, I have the ability to do that with this Real Avid gun tool kit. And you just attach it to the MOLLE and it taps down. All right, over on this side, I've got S-Tac pistol pouches and rifle patch. S-Tac makes really good quality pouches. They have a level, an audible click. They retain really well, which is one of the reasons why I like them. I've got the Blue Force Gear dump pouch. For those who don't know what a dump pouch is, the little tab here, you pull it out and it creates a fold out pouch. So if you're doing a lot of shooting training, you're dropping mags, you want to just collect your mags and you don't want to have to fumble with them in your pockets, you just throw them in the dump pouch and keep it pushing. So I like that feature. At first I didn't really think I needed one, but the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, no, that's pretty good. And then on the very back, I've got the Blue Force Gear medical pouch. Now this comes a couple of different ways. You can get the pouch itself and put your own medical supplies in it, or you can buy the pouch with the med supplies already in it. I just happen to already have some T-Rex Arms IFAKs, and so I didn't want to buy another IFAK kit, so I just bought the pouch and then I loaded it up and put it on the back of my belt. So that is my battle belt setup. I really like everything that you see here. The one thing I'll say about it, though, that it is not cheap. And so if I walk through it really quickly, I think the Soil Eater pouch and tourniquet was like $60 for both. I want to say the ShivWorks dagger is 100 and something, 130, somewhere in there for the dagger. the Dara holster, plus the ALQD mount that mounts it to the belt so that you can change out holsters if you wanted to. I want to say this is like $260 or something like that. The real Avid Leatherman's tool or gun tool, that probably ran about $65 or so. The S-Tac pistol pouches, I want to say they're like $20, and I want to say like the Magpul, I'm sorry, the P30, the PMag. Man, I was really struggling with that, right? The PMag holder, I want to say that's probably like $30. I want to say that the dump pouch by Blue Force Gear, maybe that was 75 or something like this. And I think the pouch, the med pouch, was about $100. And the IFAC from T-Rex on was probably about 75. So just estimating it out, you're probably talking around $1,100 for this setup. Now, before you guys go jump out of a window and say, what? 1,100 bucks? I get it. Could I have put this together with the same items for a quarter of the price? Absolutely. I could have went with a much, and the Ferro holster is probably about $220 or something like that. So all in, probably around $1,100. I could have got a much less expensive gun belt for probably less than half the price. I could have got mag pouches for cheaper. Could have got a less expensive holster. Didn't necessarily need the Shiv Works push dagger. Needed a tourniquet though. That would have probably still cost me close to what it cost me. And I certainly could have got away with a less expensive mag pouch. So could you do this for half that price? Absolutely. Like $400, $500? Absolutely. So don't think just because my setup is this way, you have to do it the exact same way with the exact same products and materials. No, you don't have to. There are different ways to put together a training belt or battle belt. But I think though the real point about this is most of the things that are on here you should probably have on a training belt. You should probably have a tourniquet. You're definitely going to need your firearm and your holster. Probably good to have a Leatherman's tool. Probably good to have a med pouch. And probably definitely good to have magazine pouches. I think those are the kind of essentials, and the belt itself, right? So if you're looking to put together a battle belt rig, I consider it something like this. And then, depending on your budget, you can build it out based on your budget. And so if you are looking for a more budget system, then let's talk about my competition rig, because when I set this up, I imagined a lot of wear and tear, me beating it up, and so I wanted to find stuff that was real quality that would last me a long time. Okay, fam, so look, we're back. Let's talk about my competition rig setup. So remember when we were talking about the Ferro Concepts belt, I told you that typically most gun belts have a very rigid inner belt. And then I showed you kind of how loose and tangly the Ferro Concepts belt was. And the uniqueness about that is that it was comfortable, more comfortable. This is what I'm talking about. So this is the inner belt for my competition rig. You can see that it's far more stiff, far more rigid. Is it uncomfortable? I would say no, just less comfortable. And this is a Black Scorpion gun belt. And Black Scorpion they're Amazon based. They kind of specialize in competition setups. But this is the stiff inner belt, and this is the outer belt that it attaches to. So you run that inner belt through the belt loops, and then this outer belt attaches to that inner belt via the Velcro. And so there is far less things here than on my battle belt, my training belt. Obviously, with this one, it's very pistol focused. And so really the only thing I have on my competition belt is additional mag holders and a holster. I guess I'm less concerned about medical at a shooting competition, because typically in the competitions, at least the ones that I'm there, they've got medics on site who have bags ready to go. And so that provides an extra level of comfort. It also means I don't have to carry as much crap on my belt. So that's good. I will still carry medical, and I'll have it close by. I just don't necessarily need it on my rig. All the components that you see here are also Black Scorpion. So I've got the Black Scorpion drop down holster and the Black Scorpion mag pouches. Again, they make good. Black Scorpion makes good quality accessories, but they don't break the bank. They are affordable, and if you had to replace them, they're still relatively inexpensive. I've had this belt now, used it for training and for competitions now for over 2 years, and it's still holding up super strong without any issues. And as you guys can see, I usually run my CZ Shadow 2 unless I'm in carry optics division or open, and in those instances I will use my SIG P320 X5 Legion. Carry optics, I take off the mag well, but the mag well is fine for open. And so this setup, you guys, was pretty inexpensive. The belt itself, if I recall, is about $50 or so. This holster with the drop down, the way you see it configured here, it's probably, I want to say, about $75. And my recollection is that the mag pouches ran about $30. So, like, excluding this other holster, the setup that you see right here, probably talking a couple $100. So dramatically different than my battle belt rig, right? So there is a way to do this. Now, believe me when I tell you, if I wanted to, there's a way to make a simple build out like this still be very expensive, right? There are belts out there that will run you like really good competition belts that will run you, a few $100. Holsters that will run you a few $100. Mag pouches that are like $50 each. So you could easily get to $1,000 setup for competition. For me, I don't compete at that high a level. When I'm training, I spent the extra money on my battle belt because I feel like when I'm training, I'm going to be putting that belt through hell and back. And I wanted, again, things that will last me a really long time. This one, I didn't feel like, I'm not competing at a super high level. I'm only going to go to X competitions per year. Competitions are pretty relatively straightforward. I didn't feel like I need to spend that kind of money, and I was looking for a more budget setup, particularly when I first bought this belt a couple of years ago, and I really, to be honest, have not seen the need to update it. I'm pleased with it. It works well for me. I do well, relatively speaking, in most of the competitions that I compete in. So if it ain't broke, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So those are the differences, fam, between my battle belt setup and my competition setup. Two separate, distinct functions, and two separate and distinct setups, and then one a very budget-friendly setup, and the other one not so much, more higher-end setup. But both of which I am satisfied and happy with, and I enjoy. All right? Look, fam, that's it for this episode. Until next time, as always, take care of one another, and peace.